Hello, YouTube friends and family and the internet. My name is David, and it's been about 3 months since I put anything up on this channel. And I thought I would reach out and explain to you why I haven't put out any new material. There's a couple of reasons. One, my computer is pretty much broken at this point. And yes, I can shoot video and edit on my phone. A lot of the videos have been done doing that. But honestly, I feel like I haven't had anything to say. I've been in this transition period for 10 years, off and on, trying to figure out how to get back to the original citizenship designed of the founding fathers of the country. How do I get back to that? Because the federal 14th Amendment citizenship, obviously that's wrong. That's not ideal. That's enslavement. So how do I get back to that? Tried, looking into common law ID. I have a state citizenship passport. I have a small update on that. I've looked into all different kinds of things. But right now, I am transitioning from that to a much older jurisdiction with more authority. It has dominion, and it is recognized by the international level as being something that needs to be accommodated, which being a sovereign citizen has not been recognized. You basically wind up looking like an idiot. Even when you're using their own codes and statutes to say that you're obligated to recognize, you're using their system to argue with them. And I'm finding in my research that finding agreement, not arguing, is far better. So that's what I'm trying to study right now, is learning how to find agreements and how to utilize the higher jurisdiction. And yeah, so in the last 3 months, this channel has received 45 new subscribers, and I haven't put out one video, and I apologize for that. This channel has lots of different styles of content. We do home videos, we do looking for property, homesteading, we do diet stuff, we do this American national topic. So I'm not really sure why a lot of these people have subscribed, but thank you and welcome. I appreciate it, my wife appreciates it, and I apologize we haven't done anything on the channel. I am thinking about transitioning the channel back to strictly my wife, myself, our home, what we're doing with our food, what we're doing with our struggle to obtain land, our successes, our strategies for that, just our personal journey, and leaving the political status changing sovereignty thing onto a different avenue. I have started a podcast. I have a few episodes on there, and I'm thinking about focusing on that. And I am thinking maybe of starting a totally separate YouTube channel to focus on that idea of sovereignty, citizenship, jurisdiction, finding agreement, success stories, things that I've learned, giving public notices on the channel, those kinds of things. So, I would really like to know, the new subscribers and any of the subscribers that actually see this video, what would you like to see? Is it okay that we just have this big old modge podge of content? Homesteading to, I guess it might be considered conspiracy theory, but it's definitely a conspiracy. I don't know. It is a conspiracy, actually. Anyway, let me know. If you guys comment, that would be great. Okay, moving on. I'll give a link to my podcast if you guys want to check out the podcast. I think it's kind of fun doing a podcast. It's kind of nice not having to worry about the video aspect. It's kind of easier to edit, and I don't know, it kind of feels like I'm doing a radio program, and anytime I do the YouTube stuff, it always feels more like a home video, not like I'm doing a television production or something like that. So the podcast actually kind of feels a little more professional, even though I'm clueless on how to do it professionally. Anyway, I'm officially quitting the state citizenship rabbit hole. And I want to go into detail on the podcast and maybe on a separate channel on the reasons why. I'm going to just give you a quick overview of the higher jurisdiction. The higher jurisdiction is God. Some of you probably know that I am a Christian. I don't really talk about a lot of Christianity on the channel other than in passing. But I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I believe in allowing His will to run my life. Now, I'm horrible at doing that, but that's what I believe. I have I think we all have struggles with our own ego, but when you're talking about God's will and my will, that's a struggle for me. But I'm committed to finding out His will and letting it inform my actions as best as I can. So, real quick, God's law is found in a Bible. I think everybody, Christian, atheist, agnostic, Buddhist, anybody would recognize that as being truth. Now, it's interesting because when you're talking about jurisdiction and you're talking about sovereignty and human kingdoms on earth, the King James Bible, this is King James, is the only text that has been officially recognized, supported, and authorized by a royal crown, to the best of my knowledge. And definitely when you're talking about Western society, Britain, United States, Canada, even Australia, anything that the royal crown of Britain has touched has been endorsed, has endorsed the King James Version of the Bible. And Queen Elizabeth, in her coronation, pledged all of her authority to protecting and upholding the King James Bible, and would be obliged to accommodate those people, men and women, standing underneath their sincerely held belief. She would do everything in her power to defend them. Okay, so there is law in here, and there is jurisdiction. As Christians, I am a citizen of heaven, and as a citizen of heaven, the rules are listed in the Bible. And that may not sound like completely on the up and up as far as this being a legal document. Let me just give you one example. If you have been involved with this status changing exercise, whether it be with Anna von Reitz, whether it be with the Lighthouse Law Club, whether it be with his advocates, or You Are Law, or anything. Corey Ibe has got some great stuff. You will be familiar with the idea of person. Now, person, as defined by the United States Commercial Code, basically is corporate fiction that only exists on paper and is either strictly for commerce or for government purposes, or both. Okay? I'm not a person, I'm a man. Okay? And you're not a person, you are either a man or a woman. Okay? Now you can have a personage on paper, like in a birth certificate or driver license or social security card. Okay, so you can have that personage, like a mask, on top of you, and go out into the world and be showing the display of that person, okay, through the documents that you show and how you live your life. Okay, but that's not who you are. That's not who I am. I am the man underneath. That's very well established, and I'm not going to go into all that. But let's just see what the Bible has to say about persons. Because, if the Bible is a legal document, it might have something to say about the legality of the levels of deception. In Deuteronomy 1, verse 17, it says, "Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great." Okay, well, there may be multiple levels of meaning in that, but it says person, and it says judgment, and it says ye shall not, which means never give respect to persons. Okay, and then there is Deuteronomy 10:17. Basically says the same thing. There's a whole bunch of texts in the Old Testament and in Romans, and it comes down to James 2:19. James 2:19. So the Bible says many, many times that God does not regard persons and does not respect persons. But in James, it really basically says, if I can find it real quick, that if we regard persons, we are committing sin. But if ye have respect for persons, ye commit sin, and are convinced of the law as a transgressor. That's James 1:19. Okay, so the Bible has law, and it has jurisdiction, and it has guidelines on how to navigate God's law and how to navigate man's law. So I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs. This could be hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of video. I'm not going to go into all that. I am going to list some resources in the comments. First one is the Embassy of Heaven. Now, if you go to embassyofheaven.org or the embassyofheaven.com, same organization, but two different sites. They are awesome. They are such a great resource for understanding the jurisdiction aspect and how our loyalty has been compromised because of lies that have been given to us, not only by government, but also from the pulpit, from our own pastors. World Mission Church, I'll put the link to that. That is a new church started. One of the people who has started it is Mark Emery from the Lighthouse Law Club, and he is striving to create a community of Christians that are in support of each other and in support of us getting out of Babylon. And you can say the same thing of the Embassy of Heaven. I'll leave a link to my podcast, which is called American National Update, which the more I do this, the more I'm thinking I need to actually change the name, because the more I go down this, the more I really feel uncomfortable calling myself an American national. My citizenship is with heaven and God. Really, truly, that's where I want my allegiance to be, and not with anything having to do with man-made organizations. I'll leave a link to Edward J. Robin, his YouTube channel. I'm working with him. I'm trying to work with him as closely as I can to develop my knowledge and understanding of getting agreements and changing my status using the King James Bible as the rule of law, as my jurisdiction. Now with Edward, he has been putting videos up for 8 or 9 years, but his videos are not really organized very well in a playlist. So I've actually started 2 playlists on this channel. One is starting a bank account without using a social security number, and the other one is getting agreement. I've gone through every single one of his videos. I haven't watched them all, but I'm trying to go through all of them and organize them into playlists so that you can pick a topic and really dig deep into it. Because after 8-9 years, he has a lot of videos, and they're not really organized into a series. They're not bunched up into a playlist, unless he did them all at one time and they're like part 1, part 2, part 3, and they're all together, because he didn't do a lot of videos in between. then, but even then, so I'm trying to get the videos into playlists. And that's about it. That's my update. Let me know what you think. Should we have a separate channel for this type of information? I'm happy to do that. I've actually thought about doing that a year ago and started a channel, but just put it on pause because I really didn't know how deep I would be exploring these issues publicly on the channel. So I'm happy to facilitate separating the jurisdictional American national stuff and the other things that we do on the channel. Feel free to check out the podcast. I think it's kind of fun, and it's available on, I think, Spotify, and I don't know. It's through a podcast company, and they have it distributed through all manner of different podcast avenues. I'll leave a link for that too. Till next time, guys, give me your comments, and I will look forward to reviewing them, and we can move forward together. Thanks a lot, and have a good night.